Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wife for Life. I'm so excited to introduce my guest today, Andanika Adams, better known as AC to us, who is the wife of, as we know him, Anthony Adams, or Double A in the athletic world. But in social media world, he's known as Spice Adams. Welcome, AC.
Hello, how are you, Michelle?
I'm good. So happy to have you here with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. So, AC is a pharmacist. She's one of the smartest people I know. She loves to read, and she is a fantastic wife and mother. Tell us a little bit about your story. How did you and Anthony meet?
Well, thank you so much for that kind introduction. I appreciate that. But Anthony and I met, too many years ago in high school. We were about 14. He played football with my brothers and everything. And so I basically have accidentally followed his career because we were just friends. And he played all through high school, and then he went off to college. I went off to college. We went our separate ways. He went to school in Pennsylvania. I went to FAMU. And we kept in contact throughout the years. And then we just kind of started dating both of our last years in college, and we've been together ever since.
So you mean to tell me there was no stalking going on either part?
No, there was no stalking. He did like me. He asked me to the prom. I told him no.
Ooh. You told him no?
Yes.
Why?
Well, because even though we're the same age, I'm a year ahead of him in school.
Okay.
And so I didn't want to go with an underclassman like that. In high school,
for that.
That's not a good look.
Yeah.
So, we didn't go, but I think it was for the best. We ended up together at the end of the day. So
awesome. So you guys met in high school at 14, which I always love those stories when people meet young and then, end up with a longevity story of marriage. But so you guys met in high school, you kept acquaintance in college, and then what? When did it become a thing?
It was our last year in college. He asked to come visit me. I was doing my clinical rotations in Tampa, and he wanted to come see me. And I was like, well, I guess. I don't know, sure. So then after that, when he came to visit me, he was so nice and kind and sweet. And I'm like, I think maybe God is putting this man in my face, and I'm ignoring it. So I'm like, maybe this is my husband. Maybe this is the one. And then, I was like, well, I kind of like you. So we just started dating after that. Mm-hmm. And then things progressed, and he got drafted, and, I became licensed and everything. I moved to Michigan, and he went to San Francisco, and then he we proposed to me, as soon as I bought a house, and then 6 months later, he proposes to me. And then the rest is history. I move and go to California, and that's it.
So that means that was after he got drafted and he was already there and settled, and then you went with him.
Yes.
Okay. So being that now he's in the league, he is a pro NFL player, and then progressing to where he is currently as a social media phenom, how has that impacted your marriage?
Well, it's impacted our marriage in various ways, but mostly we have strived to actually not let it impact our marriage. We've tried to just insulate our relationship from outside factors. We really tried to do that, and I appreciate you and Ray for, helping us along the way as chaplains of the Bears, and modeling the type of relationship that we would like to see. Mm-hmm. Good, God-fearing relationship. That's been our desire the whole time. So we've tried to just follow and look at the models out there that we see, and so we just try to protect our relationship. So we try not to let it impact the outside impact. But I mean, scheduling wise, of course, yes, it has impacted our marriage, because the NFL season is rigorous, and it's, basically June to January. And so, you plan your life around those months, and that he's offline come June and July, and until the last game of the season. So yeah.
So another thing I know about you is you're an introvert, and obviously I would say Anthony is an extrovert. So how do you guys manage that as far as your relationship, and with him being, in the spotlight so much, how do you manage that in your relationship?
Oh, gosh. Well, my husband is an extreme extrovert. He loves entertaining. He loves people. Me, I love people, but
A little bit, no.
Yeah, it's just, from a distance. So, but he's been, I don't know, he's an amazing person. He's bubbly and everything and kind. And I think that he's trying to draw me into being a little bit more extroverted. And so it's, he's working, he's not trying to change me.
Yeah.
But he respects my boundaries.
Yes.
He respects the fact that I don't like, a lot of lights, camera, action, and being all in, the spotlight and everything like that. Like, I tell him, do not tag me on any of your social media. I feel like I want to be in witness protection when it comes to that. Like, I don't want any parts of it just because I feel like it's his career, and I respect his career. I respect that this is his job and it's not my job. And I also don't want to take it on as like my form of identity. Like, I'm Spice Adams' wife. Like, I'm Anthony's wife and he's my husband, and that's all that matters to me. So I don't, I don't really like want to be a part of it, but I want to help him as much as he wants to be helped, you know, and further in his career and everything like that. But it doesn't mean that I have to be out there in the spotlight. So we're just trying to, figure out and navigate through, now because the spotlight is like getting a little bit bigger for him.
Woo-wee.
So, we're just trying to navigate that as best as we can. But he does respect my boundaries, and he knows like, oh no, AC would never do that. And so, and I appreciate that. I appreciate him, doing that and honoring that for me. So, yeah.
I think that's great. And one of the things that I think that was said that I think, ladies, we should take pause to is just respecting each other's boundaries, which is what I heard you say. But I also heard you say that you do give him a little leeway. A little leeway to push you a little bit outside of your comfort zone.
Yes.
And I think that's great. To me, that's teamwork and partnership at its finest.
Yes.
So that's great. I love it.
Yeah. I feel like he's him.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to take on his persona, and I wouldn't want him to become an introvert. And so I feel like he's making me more comfortable with, like, entertaining and having people over and, coming to more events and everything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm learning, and, it is fun to meet people and be around people and interact with folks. So it's really fun, but sometimes you're like, ooh, I'm tired. I'll talk to all these people all day.
Yeah, so, that's one of the symptoms of an introvert.
Yeah.
Like, you're exhausted by communicating and interacting with people.
Yeah.
And nothing is wrong with that. I have to say, nothing is wrong with that. One of my daughters is an introvert. In fact, Ray is an introvert.
Really?
Yes. People don't realize that about him, but he is an introvert. When he's out, he's on, but it's work for him. You know, whereas me, I'm an extrovert. So when I'm out, I'm energized by people.
Yeah.
I'm loving being around people and, you know, vicariously living in their lives. So, you know, we had to figure that out too. You know, one of the things I always tell people is we've hosted Thanksgiving for years. And one of the ways I knew Ray was ready to shut it down is one, he would start cleaning. So he would go to people and say, can I take your plate?
Yeah.
Can I take your glass? You finished with
Yeah,
that?
it was wrap it up time.
And then he would start turning off lights. Once he started turning off lights, everybody was like, okay, it's time to go.
It's like you should play the Oscar music and like you start wrapping it up. Like,
Yes. Yes.
Time to go.
You know, it's so funny because I meant to say at the beginning of this segment that I think you're funnier than your husband. No, you don't think you're funnier than Anthony?
No, I see more, and so I do have like little snarky comments, but that's about it. That's it. No, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's debatable, y'all. That's debatable. So with Anthony's career, and who would have predicted social media blow up like it is? What does he have, like over 2 million followers?
Yes. Yeah.
I feel like the kid from Home Alone, you know. But with that being said, obviously you probably had to put your career to the side as a pharmacist. If at all, how has that impacted your mental health and how have you handled that?
Well, it has affected my mental health. You know, I basically put my career to the side pretty early on in our relationship. Once we decided that we wanted to have a family, and then I was working in San Francisco, and then once we moved to Chicago, that's when we started to have children, and I never returned back to work. And so yeah, when you go to school and you get this fancy degree and it's 6 years and, you know, clinical rotations and all that other stuff, you feel like, okay, I want to go and want to work and want to show people that I'm smart too and I have something to offer. But, and I struggle with that. You know, I did struggle with, you know, trying to just basically prove that, you know, the work that I'm doing at home is meaningful.
Yes.
And I basically, I will say that Anthony has been just a great partner in all of this, where he's never ever made me feel like, oh, you're not doing anything, or oh, you're not valuable, or oh, you're not an integral part of the team, like, and the team being our family. You know, like, he's never ever made me feel that way. And so I truly appreciate that. So that has made it easier for like my thought process to shift from, oh, I have to go out here to prove something, to like, who am I proving this to? Why do I need to go out here and just show people that I'm smart? Like, I don't have to do that. You know, like, I could be secure in my own self. And, you know, God allowed me to go to school, work, get the degree. And I just feel like he just is not done with me yet. And he has a different plan for my life. Now, I think that, you know, raising kids and, you know, doing the day-to-day it's very, it could be challenging too.
Yeah, because how many children do you have?
We have 4.
Woohoo! 4
Yes.
guys. And what age range?
So our oldest is, he just turned 14 on Monday.
Yay!
So this is Anthony.
Happy birthday, Anthony.
Yes. And then we have Amina, who's 12, Amaya, who's 10, and Ayana, who will be 9 next week. So.
And Ayana, wait, who's the youngest?
Ayana.
Ayana is the only one that's shorter than you in the house right now,
Yes.
right?
Yes. For a limited time only.
Right?
Because she's on her way. I feel like she's a couple more naps.
Oh my god.
And a couple of bagels away from just shooting up, and then it's over with for me.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that. I've also had to learn, you know, God is done with me in that part and the growing part. But,
Right.
But that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And what I love is when you said God is not done with me yet.
Yeah.
Like, because we go through seasons in our life, ladies, and it's so important, especially when your spouse is a high profile person and you almost have to give up your career goals in order to support the family and support what your spouse is doing. It's important for us not to get discouraged,
Right.
you know.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And I think that, you don't want to get wrapped up into things, whether it's your career or his career, your path or his path, because God has a path for both of us. And so I try not to get wrapped up on that, because none of that stuff is set in stone, And so for even when I see him and all of the things that he's doing and all the things that he's creating, I get excited, but I try not to get too wrapped up into it, because it could be here today, gone tomorrow. And you don't want to have that pessimistic spirit, but I feel like I don't want things to become idols in my life.
Yes.
And so I don't want his career to become an idol to me, where I'm like, oh, look at me, I'm this person's wife. Like, no, I'm just, and this is his career for now. And then if he transitions to do something like be more visible, then that'll be great. But if not, and he stays where he is, that'll also be great, because I married him. I didn't marry his persona. I didn't marry, a defensive tackle. I married him.
Yeah.
And so that thought process has helped me, whenever I do get in a funk about like, oh, I wish I was working, or like when I see like my classmates and they're doing, some cool research project, and they're, professors and all that other stuff. And you're like, I'm folding clothes,
Doing laundry.
doing this laundry. It's okay though. The Lord is with me.
That's right. That's right. The Lord is with us.
Yep.
And the great thing about that is just knowing that our identity is not in what we do anyway.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, once I realized that, because I feel like I struggled like you, being at home with the kids and not pursuing what I felt like God had purposed and created me to do, I had to get to a place where I recognized the seasons in my life.
Yep.
And now I'm in the season where he's like, okay, your children are older.
Yeah.
Now this is what I have for you to do. But even with that being said, I had a peace about even where I was when I was there, because I knew my identity was not wrapped in what I produced. It was just being his child.
Yep. Absolutely.
It was just being a child of God. Absolutely. And that brought me so much peace, because it also made me relinquish, get it right, Michelle, relinquish control. You know, I no longer felt like I had to be in control of my life, that I can just free flow with God and just let him be the director as I claim I wanted him to be, you know.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like the life that I have is completely not what I imagined. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
Because I would have put together a whole little something like little raggedy thing.
Yes.
And it would not have been what all that God has allowed me to be a part of, see, and, you know, and having in our life from the kids to just, you know, I don't know, just to having a great relationship and everything. I feel like I could not have imagined that, but that's the whole reason. Like, that's the whole purpose, you know, like,
Yeah.
It's more than, you know, listening to God and just allowing yourself to be guided by his will. It could be more than whatever you could possibly imagine.
Yeah. So where does your faith play a role? I hear you mentioning your faith quite a bit throughout this interview. Where is faith in your life and in your marriage? How does it play a role?
Well, it's played a significant role. Like I said, we, you know, came into the league and we automatically gravitated towards, like when we were with San Francisco, Reverend Earl, and different type of programs like PAO, which is Pro Athletes Outreach, and then when we came to the Bears, we were with you and Ray, and so it's like we've always gravitated towards, you know, like God-fearing, God-centered people and
Yes.
relationships and everything. So it's always played a role in having Bible studies at the house and everything. So all of those things have, it's just helped center and be a foundation in our life, so that when things, get kind of rocky and things are, they don't go the way that you plan, you just know that God has a plan.
That's right.
And so that's how it's like my faith has been centered in knowing that God has a plan and that He's going to be guiding and directing my life. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. A couple of things that I hear you saying. One is, be mindful of who you allow to impart into your life. Like, who are the people that you go to for advice or for leadership or guidance? Just being very selective and mindful of who we allow to give us advice on how to move or what not to do in our relationships is vital.
yes.
But the other thing I heard you talk about is community. One of the things that always brought me joy, especially during our chaplaincy with the Bears, was waiting at the end of the game to see who and how many guys would go to the 50-yard line and get on a knee for prayer.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of the highlights for me. That, how many times have you seen it on television or advertised?
Right.
All of zero, right?
Right.
So, a lot of things are talked about regarding athletes, regarding entertainers, but not a lot of reference to their faith. Right. And so what I love about you guys, as you mentioned, not only do you have your own faith, but you're active in it and you are willing to be used, like hosting Bible studies at your home and things like that. But what that 50-yard line prayer also spoke to me was community. And I think you and Anthony do a great job of surrounding yourself with the right community. Like, even to this day, it brings my heart great joy. And I'm not going to cry. I am not going to cry. But it brings my heart great joy to see that the players that were a part of the chaplaincy when we were there, that you guys are all still connected.
Yeah.
Like, you still do community together.
Right.
And that just brings my heart joy, because that's what it's all about.
Right.
Like, nobody wants to do life alone.
No.
And you definitely don't want to be surrounded by people that will tell you or suggest that you do things that are detrimental to your marriage and your family and just your life in general.
Yep.
So what is that like for you, your community that you guys have built?
Oh, it means everything. That's what kept us here. Like a lot of people, when they're done and they're retired, they have like so many options to just move either back home or at whatever part of the country that they choose to live in. We chose to stay here. We chose to stay here because it felt like home. Yeah. And so we felt like Chicago took us in, but more so we had a community, and we didn't want to leave our community. And so we have, like you said, a lot of people who we've gone to Bible study with, and we have had shared and similar life experiences. And so it just makes it a lot easier for you to ground your feet and just to make this home. And so it does make it a lot easier to go through 2 degrees. And when you're like, oh, I could be somewhere else. But but we're here in Illinois because, this is where our community is. This is our home. And we love it here. And we love the people that we're doing life with.
Yeah.
Like, they have become our family. They have been there through the ups and downs, just like how you have, you and Ray have. And, like, they also, you give a quick call and you're like, oh my gosh, girl. And then they'll reel you back in. Like, all right, pump the brakes. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't say that. So
don't go there.
Yes. Remember. So like we rely on one another.
Yeah.
And I think that that's great. And I feel like it's a unique experience. And I feel like not a lot of teams actually have that type of experience, or, have provided that type of environment for their players and former players,
Yeah.
where they could just still stay around and feel like they're at home. So.
Yeah. Another thing that I really love about Chicago, and particularly the Bears, that I think they do well, is their alumni network. Wouldn't you say?
I would.
I just absolutely love their alumni. Now, Ray used to be a Colt. He used to be a Lion and a Bear. Now, he was drafted by the Colts, and we spent 4 years playing there. 4 or 5. But I might be getting myself in trouble here. But Chicago is home from us. We're from Chicago. And so once he came to Chicago, we planted our feet here.
Right.
But the alumni network is different per team. And I thought it would be universal. Like, this is what it would look like for every team. But no, it's different. And I just want to give kudos to the Bears alumni team and who puts everything together, because one of the things for us is we're there at the annual dinner, and we're sitting at the table with, guys that Ray played with, but then we're also with you guys, with people who were there when we were chaplains. And it's like a huge family. Even like this year, they're like, oh, God, get on in this picture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's some guy who played in the 80s, but everybody's like a big family in Chicago. And I attribute that to their alumni team.
Yes.
So,
I can't say enough good things about the Bears, because actually, in like full disclosure, is that they actually gave Anthony his first on-camera TV job. So when he was doing these videos, of course, he was released by the Bears in 2011. Don't give me the line. I need to check that Google machine real quick.
Right.
But in 2011, he was released, and then he started doing the videos, and like he was just chugging along and just trying to find his footing after football, because that was a huge transition for him. But they're the ones who actually approached him to do the Inside the Bears TV show. And so they gave him his first on-screen, on television job. And
he crushed it.
Yeah. So and then he just kind of took off after that. And so I'm forever thankful for them, because they gave him a job after, after he was released. And so I'll forever be thankful for that, because they gave him his start and, and helped him find his path, in his own way. And I really, truly appreciate that. So
Yeah, that's what's up.
my heart.
2 pounds to the chest. Yes. The other thing too, I think, that was great for you guys, although initially it may not have been all that great, was the transition, even with him utilizing that time with them on that phone, posting.
Yeah.
So tell me, what role did you play? Because I know you were recording something. Did you do the roller skates in the Batman uniform? Which ones?
I did not do that one. I will not claim responsibility for that one.
I love that one though.
Whichever ones are questionable,
That
I didn't
wasn't
do
you.
it. That wasn't me. I don't know.
Got you.
But no, when he first started getting these ideas about I'm gonna post a video about this and what free agents say, he was basically just kind of expressing himself through his, not frustration, but disappointment in not getting picked up and everything. Yeah. But he made it humorous.
Yes.
Because sometimes you gotta laugh to keep from crying.
That's right.
So he was posting these videos and everything, and I would just film them for him. And at the time, I was chronically pregnant. I had
oh my gosh,
I think this was baby number 3, and I was up to here in children and diapers and strollers and all that other stuff. So I just distinctly remember shooting a video with a baby on my chest, and I'm okay, go ahead, baby.
Aww.
So So yeah, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now he does the stuff himself, or he'll hire someone. But yes.
That's support, y'all. I love that. Now that's support.
Yeah.
Okay, final question. What advice would you give to a wife that's married to a high profile person?
The advice that I would give is just make sure that your relationship, your personal relationship with Christ is secure and with your husband is secure. Because it's not really, just because his job is high profile doesn't mean that your relationship is high profile. And so you are having, you still, at the end of the day, your husband's still your husband. He's not the personality, he's not the TV star, he's not the executive, he's not the CEO, he's your husband.
Yeah.
And like I said, all those things could go away in a second. And then what would you have? So you would want to make sure that all of your relationships between yourself and Christ, yourself and your husband are strong and solid, because like I said, anything could happen. And you just want to make sure that if his career goes away, you want to make sure that you're there to stand beside him and say, all right, babe, what are we going to do next?
Yeah.
Or, like if things things become, they just are on an upward motion and things get even better. And, like your husband is the CEO of Fortune, 500 company or Fortune 10 company, whatever.
Yeah. Or a star player.
Yeah,
on the team.
yeah. So you just want to make sure that, like you're also there to support him in that. And that you just don't want to get too wrapped up in careers.
Yes.
And wrapped up on things and trajectories. You just want to make sure that your basic foundational relationships are strong.
Yeah.
I think that is very important, because all of it could be stripped away, or it could just, blow up and become super visible. And if you don't have the foundation, you'll be lonely, know, and you won't honor each other and respect each other's boundaries when things are really, really good either, so you just want to make sure that those relationships are solid and sound. And I think that everything else will be good.
Yeah.
Or not good, but, manageable.
Solid.
Yeah.
I like when you said solid. It's building your foundation.
Right.
Yeah. And if your foundation is built on your faith in the Lord to sustain you, and you're feeding each other emotionally and mentally, not pubbing each other up like, public may do, but
Right.
just supporting each other and undergirding what God has in store for you. I agree. I think all of our relationships, our wifehoods, our husbandhoods will be fantastic.
Yeah.
I think they will, even with the ups and the downs. They'll still be fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, so thank you so much, AC. This has been great. I think we all can agree we are blessed by having AC in the house today. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Wife for Life. This is Michelle McElroy and Danica Adams checking out. Love y'all. Bye.